first, it is so nice to meet you. I've been so excited to chat with you all day long. What's it feel like to have a night off, like a fun night out in New York?
Yeah, it's been great, to be able to come to New York City and to experience this, and then to also be able to hang out with folks from all of the other different sports that are now in the CW. It kind of brings everybody together, and we're having so much fun this year with what we're doing on the broadcast. And obviously
some hardware.
Got some hardware from last year, so it's been really good too, and it's been cool to be able to be the reigning champion and to promote it like we have all year.
Yeah. Okay. So you look at this, the defending NASCAR Xfinity Series champion. What does that feel like to look at this trophy and to hear those words out loud? That you're the guy.
I've been in this sport for a long time, and I think for me. Not being able to win a championship for all these years, and then to be able to finally, check that box and make it happen. It's been really special because I feel like I enjoy it more. I've been able to really understand why it means so much to me, and it's probably been more surreal this season. Coming back to the racetrack and knowing that this trophy is at the house, and knowing that all the folks that we raced against last year are trying to knock me off of that pedestal to be able to get it this year. It's just been a lot of fun, and it's something that as a young kid when I started my racing journey at 5 years old, never in my wildest dreams would I have ever imagined what the feelings would be like.
To the people who are trying to knock you off the pedestal, your message to them tonight is what?
Well, honestly, my message is that I'm actually having more fun now in this sport than I've ever had, and I think that that's a little bit of a dangerous combination because, to do this sport and to be gone as much as we are and to put the effort into it, you have to be passionate, but you also have to have a lot of fun with it. And I think that that's what's made 2025 so much better for me. And I think we're showing it on the racetrack. We've had more speed this year than we've ever had. We're doing things better than we ever have. And I think as a team, we understand how to win a championship now, and we can go into the end of the season, into the playoffs, and hopefully do it again.
Yeah. NASCAR has one of the most grueling seasons of any sport. February to November? How do you balance that? You have 2 kids at home, you have a wife at home, you're a family man. How do you juggle it all? What's the secret sauce for you?
I don't know that there is a secret sauce. I definitely owe a lot to my wife because what she's able to do at home when I'm on the road. They do travel a lot with me, and for me, the sport has always been a family sport. It started with my parents. My in-laws both were at the racetrack. Helping local racers back at home as well, and so my wife kind of grew up in the sport just like I did, and we've raised our kids in the sport, and it's important to me to have them there. My oldest daughter though has decided she loves travel softball a lot more than she likes dad's racing, and with school, just so many things that don't allow them to travel as much as they used to. But what I will say is that my wife is an absolute rock star. She keeps things together at the house while I'm gone, and when we do get to travel as a family together, it's always a lot more fun. And I've actually gotten to win this year with them at the racetrack. They weren't even supposed to go, and they win, and I ended up winning that weekend. So.
And what did that moment feel like for you, for your girls? Yeah. All 3 of your girls.
Yeah, I
see that moment.
Last year at the championship, they were all there, and that was huge, right? This year, having them all there, I don't know. My youngest is 3. I don't know what she'll remember. But the photos and the memories, especially for my oldest daughter, Harper, and my wife and I, those are memories that you can't buy those memories, right? Those are things that really, truly for me have been ultra special. And, I've been lucky enough to have my parents and my in-laws also at the racetrack with us when we're having success and getting a championship photos and doing all those things. And I think it's for me, it's really understated how important the dynamic of family is in our sport. And I think that, NASCAR as a whole really has this cool behind the scenes thing that goes on, right? There's so many different things that happen. There's lots of family folks like myself. There's others that are young and they're single and they're just enjoying being on the road. Yeah, and it's so much fun to kind of watch these groups all kind of merge together on a race weekend and any given weekend and go, be in a sport that they love and ultimately want to compete at.
Yeah. I'm a new girl mom myself. I have an almost 1-year-old at home. I know you're a girl dad. Impart on me your wisdom. Like, how do you champion your girls every day to chase their dreams as they watch dad do that very thing for himself?
Yeah, well, first of all, congratulations, because kids are a blessing that I don't think people realize until they have them for themselves. And then once you have kids, it is stressful, it is hard, it is crazy, lack of sleep, all of those things. But when you have those big moments and you watch them grow and learn and develop, it's just, there's nothing like it. And, I'm super lucky in the fact that while softball and racing are significantly different, one of the cool things for me has been having my daughter come to the racetrack and understand professional sports as a whole, and then go to play with her teammates and understand the team dynamic and to understand, what it takes to be competitive. But I also love the fact that she's seen me include my family in everything. And, I want her to be the best she can be, but at the same time, and we've had this conversation multiple times, I don't care if she's the best player on the team or the worst. I want her to have fun, and I want her to learn and grow. And, that's all you want for your kids, right? You want them to be a better version of anything you've ever been able to do, but you also want them to have great opportunities and great success. And I will give my kids every opportunity that they crave or want if I can. But I will always be proud of them, no matter what they do in life. I'm always gonna be proud of them.
Behind them. I've seen you and your wife Ashley on the red carpet before. And she has your back, just like you have hers. I love the way that y'all speak so highly of one another. And I know she has shared before, both of you, there have been times where you've wanted to quit, right? The moment's been too much. Talk about her support in those moments and what keeps you going when you're having a tough time.
Yeah, it's been interesting because, my wife is not a super emotional person, right? Like, I would say I'm probably more the emotional one than my wife is. But what I've noticed with her is that when she is discussing my racing career or what we do on a weekly basis or our kids, for her that's the trigger that really you see that emotion flow out of her. And she's been interesting. We have a lot of differences as far as like our personalities, right? And I think they always say opposites attract, and it's been great because we are kind of opposites, but everything that I lack she has, and I feel like as I've questioned why you keep doing this when the success doesn't always happen easily or especially overnight, right? But for her, it's been interesting because she sees it through a different lens than I do. She grew up in the sport in a different way than I do. And, she's not always been my biggest cheerleader because I think sometimes you get the glad hand, right? You get that, we're going to just say everything was great and you did great even when you did wrong. And the thing that I love about my wife is that when you're doing great, she's the first one to tell you that, hey, that was great. But when you're also wrong, having some accountability in life, I think, is ultra important. And she's been that rock for me that has always helped me to be at 100%. And it's shown on the racetrack, but I really feel like more importantly it's shown off the racetrack. And like I said, she's a rock star. She's an amazing woman. And really for me, somebody that, you're blessed when you can go through life and you can have your best friend by your side and you can support each other and everything.
Yeah, you're true partners. There's much to admire there. And then speaking professionally, where do you hope to see NASCAR, on the horizon here? The new partnership with the CW, how that's felt different, and what you hope to see come of the sport in the future?
Yeah, I mean, it's been amazing so far, right? The CW has come in, obviously. We still don't know what the ceiling is of viewership and getting fans involved. But with the CW taking up a bigger stake in sports, right, as a whole, I think the crossover has been really, really cool. Even here tonight, hanging out with some of the folks in the WWE and other sports that are now on the CW, to see them come to the track. And obviously, I think that when fans are finding it, they're finding this new passion, and we're able to tell a story. At the end of the day, entertainment is about telling a story and giving people a way to just relax and get away from their everyday life, right? There's lots of stress going on in the world. There's lots of stress with jobs and families and all these different things. And when we can give folks a way to separate themselves from that and to get a few minutes and just escape and have a great time, it's a great story and it's a great passion thing. And the CW is doing a great job so far of being able to tell that story, give fans entertainment, and ultimately, I think for me, put the opportunity of getting NASCAR into more households, right? as a sport, the more each series grows, right? Obviously, I watch the Cup Series and I watch the Truck Series, but I'm passionate about the Xfinity Series. And as we watch it grow, it really is important for me because I want to see the whole sport of NASCAR grow. And the CW has done an amazing job with that so far.
And lastly, before I let you go, the professional milestone that you hope to cross. Like, what's on your bucket list of things you hope to accomplish?
Honestly, as odd as this is going to sound, I've checked every box that I've ever set forward for myself for the sport of NASCAR. And I would, if I'm being honest, I love where I'm at. I'm having fun and I'm enjoying just having the opportunity to still do this. I know that there's going to be a day where I've turned my last lap and I'm no longer a race car driver. But I think for me now, what has really been the fun part for me is going to the racetrack week in and week out, hanging out with all the fans, seeing people experience NASCAR for the first time, see them want to be a part of it, and just knowing that at some point somebody's not going to come ask for an autograph, somebody's not going to come ask for an interview. And sometimes you don't realize how great you have it until you don't have it anymore. And I've been so close to walking away from the sport and not having it, and now I'm enjoying what's there and knowing that when my day is done, I'll have given it 100% and gotten every last drop out of it.
Nothing is forever in life. It's so nice to meet you, Austin. How's the evening treating you? Also in your suit. This is a night out for you in the town.
It is. I'm not used to wearing a suit like this, so I had to pull this from the corner of my closet. I'm normally into fishing, hunting. I like my Levi jeans, my shorts, my flip-flops, that type of stuff. But I'm having a great time here. Everyone at the CW has been super welcoming, and cool little setup we have behind us with the iRacing. So hopefully I can get on there and bust off a fast lap. And see if
maybe we can race each other before the night is over.
Yeah, that'd be nice. Yeah, we'll hop on there and see if we can race each other, see how it turns out.
Well, you look very dapper in the suit. Fresh off a Talladega win. I mean, you still flying high on cloud nine? Or?
I am. Obviously, for me and for really any racer, you always celebrate afterwards, and you might have some cocktails, a beer, whatever. You might have a celebration on Sunday, and then Monday morning, it's like right back at it. We go straight into our post-race meeting of how the weekend went, and it transitions straight into our pre-race meeting for the race coming up. So for me, with it already being, Tuesday now, I'm already transitioned fully into Texas mode. That's where we're going this weekend, and it was awesome to get the win there at Talladega, but that's kind of behind us now.
You don't get to soak it in for very long.
It's only a 2 or 3 day stretch, and then, like I said, we race 33 weekends out of the year on the CW, obviously, and it's just going nonstop. So you're only as good as the last race that you just raced. So going into Texas weekend, we have the leg up on the competition.
Yeah, you're feeling good. Now tell me, and I was just talking about this with Justin earlier, I mean, NASCAR has one of the most grueling seasons in all of sports, February to November. How do you keep that up as a family man and dad and husband? And
so
juggle it all.
Yeah, it is very tough. Like I was just saying, we run 33 weeks out of the year. We start right at the beginning of February, and we go all the way through middle of November, and it's constant for the most part. Luckily for the Xfinity side, we do have 5 weekends off, and we get to do some vacationing and that and such with our family. And for me, I have 3 kids, my wife. They come to the majority of the races. I'd say out of the 33 races, they come to 23 of them. Normally they stay back on the West Coast, and but when they do come, we have a motorhome there. My grandparents actually drive the motorhome for me, and then my parents come to the majority of the races. So I have a lot of family members that actually come to the races. So that's where we spend a lot of our time hanging out, is at the racetracks, and we get to see all these different areas that we get to go race at. So we try to find something to do when we're not racing on race day.
Yeah. You had this incredible moment with your daughter a couple years ago, and I'm a new girl mom myself. So I love when you won and she just ran across the track to you, and you threw her in the air, and then you were joined by your wife and son at the time. You must live for those moments with them.
Yeah, I
and
do.
See your daughter light up like that.
I do. So Talladega was kind of an oddball for us. My wife comes running out, and she's extremely excited, but that was one of the rare races where all three of my kids decided to sit in the grandstands, and they won't let you come through until the car's off the racetrack, just safety precautions, right? And so I wasn't able to celebrate with them until we got all the way to Victory Lane. So that was a lot different. But yeah, the time that you're talking about, that I think that was back when we won at Atlanta a year or two ago, and that was such a cool moment, having them run out on the front stretch, and they're running to me, and they're extremely excited that I won the race. And for me to be able to see the joy in their eyes of what Dad just did, it's something that just kind of melts your heart. And when you go back and you rewatch the race, those moments kind of put a little bit of a tear in your eyes.
Yeah. And I know right before we started this interview, I said, is your wife here tonight? And you said, no, she's home with the kids. She's really the unsung hero, right? You're the one on TV. You're the one doing the interviews. She's keeping the wheels, going at home. What do you have to say about her and just the partnership that you two have together?
Yeah, I mean, it really takes a village to do everything that we do. And my wife, she does so much for our family. Just to put it in perspective, she went on a girls' trip. This was a month or so ago, and I stayed home with the kids, and this is the first time I've stayed home with all three of them. I've stayed home with, one or two of them at times, but this is the first time I stayed home with all three of them, and I stayed home with them for 5 days in a row, and taking them to school, taking them to gymnastics, doing all these different things. And when she got home, I'm like, man, I need a break. I'm like, I don't know how you do this every day, but I need a break from what just went on. And it's constant. Yeah, and it's just constant. I mean, you sit there and think, she's a stay-at-home mom. You think, okay, stay-at-home mom, what does she have to do? Well, she doesn't. Her job isn't from like 8 to 5. It is just 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
She doesn't get weekends.
Nope, she doesn't. Yeah. She doesn't get time off. So for her to do the things that she does, I couldn't do it. I'm glad that I get to drive a race car for a living and do what I get to do. And when I'm in the race car and when I'm racing and doing all those things, I have a little bit of time to myself, and she doesn't get that. So hats off to her for putting up with me and doing everything that she does for our family.
Having my first child and just maternity leave, because I had those same thoughts before, and I'm like, stay-at-home mothers, stay-at-home parents. I mean, it's the hardest job in the world. I couldn't agree with you more. And tell me what's next for you professionally. What bucket list items are you hoping to cross off your list one of these days?
Well, I mean, we've won multiple races in the Xfinity Series, so to be able to add my name to the list of being a champion in the NASCAR Series and the NASCAR Xfinity Series, that's a box that I really want to check. Hopefully that's this year. And then on top of that, I want to start running full season in the Cup Series level at some point in my career. It might not be next year, it might not be the year after, but I do want to run at least a season and see how it all shakes out. See if I'm put up to the task of running in the Cup Series. They run 38 weekends out of the year, and they only have one weekend off out of the whole entire season from February to November. So there's a lot more that goes on the Cup side. And then, if racing ends up down the road, I end up retiring, I would love to still stay in racing, whether that's working with RCR and becoming some type of sport relation type deal, maybe working with other drivers. There's a lot of different areas in racing that you can pivot to after being strapped inside the race car. And so for me, I want to stay in NASCAR, in the racing world, for as long as I possibly can.
And last question for you before I let you go. NASCAR has a new partnership with the CW. What's that been like? Has that felt different? And where do you hope to see the sport in 5-10 years from now?
Yeah, I mean, for me, the CW has been great to work with. They are so just open arms, right? They come into NASCAR not really knowing much about racing, but they're learning each and every week. And then you have, guys like Parker Kligerman, Adam Alexander, those guys that have been in racing for so long that are coming in and they're the spokesperson on the TV. I think that gives the viewers, a really good. They're just painting the picture for them of what's going on the racetrack. We have a lot of new viewership this year. So far, we've had over 1 million viewers each and every race, which is insane. I heard somebody talking a little bit earlier. I think 14 is the record, and we're at like 10 or something in a row of having over 1 million viewership. So I see in 5 or 10 years this skyrocketing to another level. I think that we can get to that 1.5 or maybe 2 million viewership if we keep this ball rolling. And the great thing about it, where it's at on the TV. It's a local channel. It's easy to find. Everyone can find it. My grandparents that are in their 70s, they know exactly where to go each and every week. So it makes it so much easier for the viewer at home to know, all right, I'm going to the CW and I'm going to watch the NASCAR Xfinity Series race, and it's on this channel each and every week.
Well, we can't wait to watch from afar. Congrats on all the success.